Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Charlotte. I am Horace. I am your host and MC for today, and we are just so happy that you have joined us. And whether this is your first time, you have been with us before, we are honored that you have graced us with your presence in this diverse, affirmative, and open-hearted community. So, today's message is practicing self-contemplation. Practicing self-contemplation. So as you focus on that theme, this will allow you to contemplate how we're going to move through this service today. So I encourage you to stay tuned for the opportunities and few announcements later on, because there's always something meaningful that can potentially transform you as you contemplate. So if you'd like to learn more about our community, submit a prayer request, and catch up on past messages, please feel free to visit our website, cslcharlotte.org. And you can follow us there in all the social links, and even our YouTube channel. We'd love for you to subscribe and stay connected. So allow yourself right now to just settle in, open your hearts. And before I pass the mic over to our beloved spiritual leader, Reverend Rosedale, I want to leave you with this thought. Self-recognition, the self-contemplation of spirit, is the primary movement out of which all creativeness proceeds. Let me read that again for your self-contemplation. Self-recognition, the self-contemplation of spirit, is the primary movement out of which all creativeness proceeds. And that is by Paul Twitchell. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to our wonderful, awesome, spiritual, and fearless leader, Reverend Rosedale.
Welcome to CSL Charlotte. We are the Mind, Body, Spirit Center. The first thing we do at our spiritual community is we set the tone with an affirmative prayer. Today, we're all about practicing, contemplating, you know what I mean? You know what I meant. We're practicing spiritual contemplation. So from that, we got a couple of people coming up to our platform. So the first person that's coming up to our platform is the person that does the setting of the tone, right? She sets the tone for us in an affirmative prayer.
So I know that today that we are inspired by Spirit. The Spirit is all there is. It's all around us as this wonderful nature, as this wonderful life, and expresses through us as our individualized lives, seeking to expand and have adventures. And every day is adventures, sometimes with wonderful surprises, sometimes with not so wonderful surprises, but we're all here together to support each other, because this is what communities do. So I am knowing that today we are inspired by Reverend Rosedale's talk, and we all have a new attitude as we contemplate our lives, as we contemplate everything that we desire and how we choose to expand, because Spirit is expanding through us, as us. So I am knowing that we are all inspired by this message, by the music, to transform our weeks and just level up our lives. So I am knowing that everything is perfect, whole, and complete as it is already. We are all standing gathered around in wholeness and in perfection and harmony. So I am grateful to be part of this community. We're all here to support each other and remind each other just how brilliant we are, of all the brilliant lights that live within each and every one of us, that seeks to expand and to grow and to become a lighthouse, guiding other people, to inspire other people to transform their lives as well. So I release this out into this wonderful world, knowing everything is working out perfectly and harmoniously in divine and perfect order. And so it is.
And so it is. As usual, everything's working out fine and in divine, perfect order. And that's all we want, is order. And we give that. So next on our platform is Melissa Spiegler, the girl from Tennessee. She's going to do a magnificent reading that's going to explain to you the whole bit about spiritual contemplation. She's going to warm you up with that. So after Melissa's reading, listen to the song When you're ready to move on. That's a long title, but think about it. When you're ready to move on, contemplation hits the spot. So when you're ready to move on, start practicing spiritual contemplation. That's this whole idea today. So with that, Melissa, come to the stage and let it do what it do.
Thank you, Reverend Rosedale. I love today's talk about practicing spiritual and self contemplation. Today's reading is going to be a clue to manifesting your best life, and it's written by Reverend Rosedale Jones. It's important to nurture our inner landscape the same as how we care for our physical surroundings, if not more. Do you feel cleaning your home or shining your car makes the outside feel good because you think the inside feels clear? Well, your inner world, called your oneness with spirit, plays a powerful role in how your outer life unfolds. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape the condition of our inner landscape. They influence how we work and how everything unfolds. When we align our perspective with clarity, peace, and possibility, our oneness with spirit responds by expanding those vibrations outwardly. Here's the scientific truth. This spiritual principle is also reflected in our biology. When uplifting insights are developed through breath, gratitude, meditation, and kindness, our brain releases BDNF. This is a natural growth factor that helps our mind evolve. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Basically, brain food or spiritual nourishment expressed through nervous systems, which is essential for growth and connection which we make throughout our life. It strengthens healthy patterns, softens old wounds, and helps us build new ways of thinking. So we choose hope, oneness, and inner compassion. And our oneness with spirit responds by saying yes, and so does our brain. The inner landscape heals, grows, and becomes more resilient. Likewise, when we align with fear, worry, self-doubt, and harsh self-talk, our oneness with spirit also says yes. It's not saying yes because it wants us to struggle. It says yes because it mirrors the vibration we are offering it. The brain follows too. Low BDNF makes the inner world feel stuck or heavy, not because we are broken, but because our inner landscape is asking for nurturing and renewal. This is why awareness matters. Your oneness with spirit says yes to everything. It reflects into your world exactly what you are feeling and believing inside, and your biology listens. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. They don't just spiritually, they change neurologically. Every shift into gratitude, calm, or self-acceptance signals your brain to grow in a new direction. When you tend to your inner landscape with mindfulness, breath, intention, and compassion, you create a harmonious inner and outer environment for transformation. Your oneness with spirit rises. Your brain grows healthier pathways. Your life begins to mirror the beauty you've developed inside. Keep transforming your life. Keep nurturing your inner landscape. You will be much happier for it. And your oneness with spirit and your brain will thank you in every step of your evolution. And here's a final quote by Reverend Rosedale. Our oneness with spirit is our unique authority figure that says yes to everything. And so it is.
So, that's beautiful. When you're ready to move on, just remember life has a lot of plans, and sometimes they just go differently. So, we're going to start with a short centering. And just relax your eyes for a minute and soothe yourself and prepare yourself for this talk. And now take a nice deep breath in and slowly exhale. You know, I got a question. Do you have dreams? And sometimes you may think that life is always going differently. Well, yeah, that's what the lyrics were saying. But when you practice spiritual contemplation, I'm going to tell you what spiritual contemplation does for us. We're contemplating, what could I do differently? Instead of us playing back all the things that didn't go right and how things went differently from what I planned, we need to contemplate, how can I do that better? The questions you ask get answers. When you say, why am I such a failure? You get a lot of answers. It's the same thing. Answers are nothing more than insights. So it's all about questioning yourself and contemplating with yourself and then listening to all of the insights you get in return. So this song says, I got plans and they're not going my way. But then again, on the other hand, it says life helps me find parts of me I never knew were there. So that's from practicing contemplation. You get to hear things that you didn't even know you was good enough to do. But that also leaves us with answers and insights. And you know, those answers may not come in that practice that you're doing. The answers could come hours later. You're driving down the road and you say, oh, I get it. Contemplation works 24/7. You just have to utilize the tool. See, you're a choice whether you choose to incorporate spiritual practices to use this thing that I'm talking about, or you can just not get those insights. You can get some other insights. All you need to do is start. Start practicing spiritual contemplation. It's all up to you. So wiggle your fingers and your toes and look around your space. When you get that opportunity to find something in your space that connects you back to the present moment, find it. So, practicing spiritual contemplation creates transformative experiences. It is a tool for growth. Now I'm going to talk soon about a growth factor shortly, but let me tell you about practicing spiritual contemplation. See, contemplation balances the mind, body, spirit. And when I look up like that, that's me, because the brain is telling me this is the direction I need to look for that question. So I might say, or I might go like that to contemplate. Then again, I just may not do anything because my mind is working. But whatever it is, contemplation helps my mind, body, spirit integration balance. And I have to always keep listening for that balance or feeling for it. And all you have to do is question yourself. That's it. But here's the thing. A habitual practice literally unlocks all these unseen talents that we have in this process. And what it does is it gives us great insights to our questions. I wanted to know about less than 5 years ago. I need to supplement my income. I'm always supplementing my income because you know why? Inflation is always going up. I'm not going to find myself staying where I was 20 years ago with that income. If you do, where you? Come on, let's get real. I would ask, what can I do to discover more money? Then all of a sudden, talents start to arise. I said, go do this. Make some recordings for people. Ask people to give you an opportunity to do this and do that with them. It is where I find unseen talents when I ask those questions. Wonder what I could do. It's just a The concept of spiritual contemplation is really well written. It's just a beautiful concept. But I can, it's amazing, but I can count on one finger where that word is actually written in the Bible. But I can tell you what, the learning of it is somewhere in the Bible, just the idea. See, the thing is learning more about you and yourself. In fact, there is no actual verse anywhere in the Bible that will talk about spiritual contemplation. But if I look at the book of Romans chapter 12, verse 2, it totally resonates with this. Because here's what it is. Let me see if you can hear the concept of practicing spiritual contemplation in this verse. You've heard it. Do not conform to the ways of the world. Whatever the ways of the world are, you don't have to conform to that. It says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And if there's no other way you can get to your mind, it is definitely going to be through contemplation. Contemplate on what you believe and understand. This way, through your questionings, you can understand what you already know. Once you really understand what you know, then it's time to relearn or learn something new. Don't follow the world's way necessarily. Sometimes their way may be right, but if you see everybody going in that direction, stop and turn around. Obviously, everything is not for everybody. So take time, your time, to make sure you contemplate, to show yourself what's really meant for me. Everybody's doing this, but do I need to do that? So that says to renew your own mind. That should let you know right there. See, because you must trust the process of contemplation. This way you can gain access to all this beautiful insight inside of you. All of the answers are in here. And these insights are already there. What you're doing is poking at it with those questions and causing these ideas to come popping up. See, spirit is that energy that lives within us each and every time. And each and every one of us have it. It's not a different thing. All we have to do is conform to that oneness of spirit that we are. The oneness with spirit, you know what that is. It's already there. So trust that process. But here's the deal. There is no God, no spirit, nor anything like that outside of you that's going to come and save you. It is not even going to be anything outside of you out there in the sky that's going to harm you either. So there's nothing, no entity, no deity, nothing like that here to limit or harm us. Let's get that and put it to the side. Because the only thing that our divine energy offers us is unconditional love. And if you're not willing to accept it, start contemplating at least to figure out, why can't I get this? But don't say that. Remember what I told you. Why will give you some crazy insights. But if you ask, how can I understand that? Then you might hear something like, you know what? I need to take that class. You know what? I need to read this thing in YouTube. I need to read this book. I like listening to books. I might get some more books from audible.com. You just get these ideas. Those are your insights. But you got to ask the question. So getting the good life, as I call it, doesn't just depend on your behavior. You don't have to be good to get a good life. You can be the most rotten apple according to other people's judgment of you. But you can still contemplate and get the good life. So don't be punishing yourself, because there's nothing that's going to punish you. It just depends on the actions you take. The most important action is to start your spiritual practices and let them start to work. Because you see, life, spirit, the universe, none of that. It's not here to punish. It just mirrors back to us what we believe. And it shows us, this is what you're doing, this is what you're getting. And what do we do? That just means, hey, it's all good. It's all God. No matter what you look at, when you hear that saying, that's what I'm thinking they're saying. They're saying that, well, I'm just mirroring it back to you, what you're doing, and that's your behavior, and that's what your outcome is going to be. But okay. But just know this. The universe is not out to get you. In fact, that's your own trip or guilt trip or whatever. just know I'm not going to be on this trip. Okay? So don't keep things of what's going on today bottle up inside of you. And don't do things over and over and over that's going to not make you proud of yourself later. Because that's going to be the thing. If you're not proud of yourself, you start to spiraling down. Here's something powerful to connect science and spirituality. It's a concept called BDNF. Now, Melissa mentioned it in the reading, and BDNF is, listen to the meaning of this acronym. It's a brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And what it is, it's a highly most researched thing right now. It's very, very proven, and it's a respective growth factor. In other words, every part of us have growth factors, the brain, the blood, and all these things, and we're continuously growing. But it's your mind, your natural mind, which is a fertilizer. So your thoughts, listen to this carefully, your thoughts are seeds. So you're sitting there going, this never works. The fertilizer, BDNF, comes over. It acts as a natural nourishment for the brain, even though it's not something that you want to really, really produce, but it's going to fertilize that idea that nothing ever works. But then again, if you're saying, I am, and believing it and studying yourself into seeing why you're great at what you are great in, there's the fertilizer making you better. So I'm beginning to understand that BDNF, which is a protein, it's just, oh, you know what? We already have these automatic proteins within us, right? All we have to do is release a certain amount of things like the breath. In your breath, it calms you. Leaving that breath alone, leaving everything out, consistently breathing. Also, focusing on some nuance in your life, not what you're used to looking at. All of those things from the past keep you in the same place. See, I'm enjoying this study because this BDNF is a growth factor. So no matter what you do, many people have brain fog, dementia, and the body responds to all of that. So just because you think dementia is in the brain, it leads itself right into your body. So this is where, actually, BDNF is where spiritual and science meet. Because BDNF is the brain saying, yes, 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 I keep your thoughts fertilized. Yes. And also, remember, your thoughts are just seeds. Remember that. So here's something that Melissa read. And she said, when we cultivate uplifting perspectives through that breath, through the gratitude practice, through meditation, when we cultivate all this, and then we start speaking kind words to ourselves, the brain releases BDNF, which fertilizes the mind. That should say a lot more to you than anything I just said. But what do you think of that? Serotonin is a chemical. BDNF is a protein. But they all are released in your body by your actions, by your feelings, by your emotions. Adrenaline is a chemical too. But fight or flight brings that on. So know what's going on in your body. Study you. Practice you. BDNF is a spiritual nutrient, and it's expressed throughout your entire nervous system. It's a protein, like I said. And you know what neurons are. It has to do with your nervous system. So neurons have to have this thing about growth. You have to have growth in them so that the brain changes. See, if a person gets dementia, they don't have to keep it. That could change. But you have to change the way you look at things, like Melissa said in the reading, and the things you look at change. Once you start looking at this thing and it starts to change, that's because you've changed the way you look at it. Because see, what happens is this brain plasticity is the brain's ability to rewire and relearn. Last week I talked about relearning your stuff from that you used to, that we were taught, all the stuff that we were programmed to believe. It's time to rewire the brain. And that is what the growth factor helps us do. But because you're aware of this now, that is supposed to help you to say, you know what, I'm going to do a nice spiritual practice and I'm going to see what happens. Then you start to learn, and this is the God's honest truth. When we hear things or get a diagnosis, we don't have to live with that. Just no more than we have to live with our old ways that we used to be. Everything changes if we give it that opportunity, but we have to look at it differently. The brain has the ability to rewire all these little neurons. And if you look at those little diagrams, I'm watching a lot, you'll see the dendrites and all of those little things, these little things, they just, wow, they fascinate me. You know, just to know that, wow, I am all of that. If you studied that and you started seeing how fabulous you are and how remarkably you are made of a human being. Oh my God, look at it, guys. We have got to learn, because once you do that, your whole confidence level is boom, to the roof, spiraling. And that's what I love about science, because when you explain it in the science to me, I grow. So B, D, and F is already in us, and spiritual contemplation brings it out. Because when you start asking those questions and you start relearning those things, regrowth happens and rewiring happens and relearning happens. And guess what? You are not that person you were yesterday, let alone 15 minutes ago. BDNF fertilizes from the questions you ask in contemplation, and then it helps your mind to let go of all those old patterns that no longer serve you. And then all you have to do is remember, let me do some contemplation, which all I got to do is question. It helps the nervous system to trust you again. Your nervous system doesn't trust you because you're not making the right decisions for it to continue to give you the insights that you need to be successful. So when you meditate, when you breathe, and you speak kindly to yourself, you get declutters of the mind instead of clutter of the mind, right? So like 10 years ago, I set my sights on a vision, creating the greatest spiritual community known to man. The truth is, this creation is the greatest community known to man that many people have not seen. So my mind is telling me, honey, they just haven't seen it yet, but you still have all the tools, everything necessary for the ones that are ready to learn it. You got it. See, I know when I'm aligned, and when I hear that to myself, I just get happier, because then the happier I get, the more creative I become. And the more creative I become, the next level I'm on. When I practice, I contemplate, and my insights come through my dreams, for example. So sometimes I'm driving down the road and I could remember something that someone said, my mom could have said to me, or whatever. But that's my answer. That's my insight. Plus, being the founder of CSL Charlotte, let me tell you what it has done. It is doing, and I'm allowing it to do to me. It's keeping my life expanding, because the more I have to do talks and the more I have to do research, and I get to say, ooh, look at that. While I'm enjoying the research and practicing contemplation, I'm living my best life. I've got a whole new business started, plus what I'm doing. And it's all around the mind, the body, and the spirit. There are people healing from the left and right of me, and this is what my dream was. To watch people heal, because all I got to do is do certain practices, and then they work for me and they have problems, I tell them. One girl, with a diabetic girl, the other day was asking me questions. She said to me, oh my God, if I hadn't met you. I said, wait a minute, you're doing the work. So don't say if I hadn't met you, I wouldn't be here because you wanted this, because that's why you summoned me here. She don't get that part, but I know. So listen, guys, It pulls you in the direction you need to be in, because the insights will say, go into Target. Oh, I just want to see the store. All right, so I'm going into Target. That was somebody I might have met at some point, and I talked to everybody. Hello, how you doing? And she happened to know when you heard my name. I said, well, yeah, I hear you. She said, I know your name. I know who you are, but you don't know me. When you hear the name Rosedale, there's only one Rosedale on the planet. Nobody else has my name. And that's what makes me so unique in my own mind. What about you makes you spark and say, ha, that's me. That's my unique. I know now with all of everything that all of my successes came because BNF was already in here forever. I didn't happen to know what it was, but it was always here. It nourished all my seeds, my thoughts. I called Melissa 15 years ago just to talk about this is how I see my spiritual community. This is what I'm seeing when I graduate. And this is way before now. I'm seeing mind, body, spirit. And I remember telling her, I'm helping people right now with their bodies. We were talking about food, and I've been always doing food. That's my thing. And watching all these people grow. And Melissa even said one night, you know what? That is you. Everything. It's all you. 360. Everything that you do is all about you. And I just keep on thinking. And I just keep on thinking. So then we got into the spiritual community. And all of a sudden, it just kept going on. But I'm grateful for my moments out of everything. I'm so grateful for my moments of spiritual contemplation. They mean everything. After I may have a conversation with someone and they tell me your friends could tell you things about things. Contemplate some of those conversations you have later on, because it empowers me to want to learn more, and it empowers me, because what I am, to teach more. And it also empowers me to relearn. What am I talking about? Because there's some things that I've learned that don't work. So I got to relearn that. So contemplation is the thing that helps. See, that's because I always make time for practicing spiritual contemplation. It has completely transformed my life, and it's going to continue to spiral me up and up and up. Because in contemplation, I get to see my dreams. And this week, this week, I dreamt of losing my ticket to a show. The group out here brought me a ticket going to see Bon Jovi the day after New Year's Day. So that's that. They gave me all the dinner money and everything up front. And so I said, wow, this is great. So I'm going to go do that. So I didn't think about it right away, but in the dream this week, I dreamt that I had lost a ticket to the show, but I don't think it was that ticket. But I'm not sure yet. But let me just finish. So the minute I woke up that morning to take time for my contemplation, if I don't get the insight right then, I said, well, okay, it sounds good. One thing I learned, don't freaking panic. Don't freak out and panic. Don't do that. That's not going to work. I could be driving, and all of a sudden the insight pops in. So then, what happened later? That dream came back to me, and I said, that is a symbol of an opportunity on its way to you. So you just keep watching. That's what I said. And then what happened in the same dream, I looked into the convenience store I was leaving, and I noticed they were taking my wallet too. So then I said to myself, that was a symbol of the old patterns that once stole my peace. You gotta change it and let your mind change that for you. Change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And suddenly that's what I got. That was a symbol. My dreams are symbols. They're not for me to freak out on. And I know I've evolved, because I used to get freaked out and start nervous up and all that kind of stuff when I wake from a dream like that. But there was no sadness that day. There is nothing like that in the mornings anymore for me. That was amazing for me to actually see. But I'm starting to think that this is science, this is spirituality. There was no knot in my stomach. There was no fear. There is no grief about that dream or any other dream. They're my symbols. So no emotional pain can come out of that. So what about you? Do you want to take time to start waking up in the morning, or not even just that, to just living the good life, a better life? Now, every single morning over the last couple of years, I guess, I've been waking up feeling great because I've been practicing. Practicing contemplation changes me, rewires my brain, and that's what spiritual plasticity, mind plasticity is all about. My oneness with spirit restores my life. The dream showed me I no longer live in mere survival. I live in awareness. That's the dream telling me that. And I'm aware. I saw the guy stealing my wallet. I was aware, but I wasn't worried because I can get that money back. So there was never, or whatever they were stealing. But you're not going to steal my peace. So that showed me that I live in an awareness and peace, and guess what else? A new attitude. Because when I change my attitude, everything changes. But the reason why I changed my appetite, my attitude, is because I said you can't have that attitude of defeat. You're going to have to change that. Change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What about you? After years of living by the rules of others that people said, well, you do it this way, and you said, okay. After watching all of that, have you developed a new attitude yet? Because see, what I learned is as we age, the influence of people and things around us, how they control us from the outside, we start to detect it and start saying, boundary time. Let go of being obedient to people. Just stop it. What will you do when you realize how much those outside pressures are affecting you? You'll practice contemplation, I hope. Because practicing contemplation gets you a new attitude. Maybe you found a new tribe that you're hanging out with. I have a couple of several new different pockets of tribes now that I hang around, but it's all upward speaking people. You know, it's not the defeatist way I was a couple of years ago. Listen, let me tell you something. We got a class coming up that's going to teach about spiritual contemplation. Pay attention because it's going to happen, and it'll probably happen in 2026 in the beginning. I think you're looking at changing for yourself. But here's the thing. By investing in yourself, you are laying a foundation for a journey of practicing spiritual contemplation. That's a powerful thing. This class will give powerful techniques. It's just a dream I'm giving you right now for for developing ways to practice spiritual contemplation. See, because do you know that within you is a gift of contemplation that can change your life forever? Because here's the deal. In spiritual contemplation, your oneness with spirit echoes. Like we were hearing this morning, right? All these echoes your inner voice. But here's the thing. Your oneness with spirit does not hold biases or judgments. So you need to stop it. So be the captain of your ship. Drive it, steer it toward practicing your spiritual contemplation. Because it's time to start practicing spiritual contemplation, because it's the best way to get, not the only way, but it's the best way to get good, fantastic, new attitude. Everybody needs one. You gotta change that attitude with this pokey face, smiley face. Change it! So, our next song is going to capture the vitalizing joy and what it does. It has the confidence within us, and it's going to show you a little bit things to be confident about. So think about this next song and let the wires in you uncross. You hear that, you'll hear that in the song, but they're talking science, baby. So the wires uncross, the tables turn, and now you get to see what lessons I need to learn. Oh, go ahead and get your new attitude. So listen to the song, New Attitude by Patti LaBelle. A new hat, woo, brand new ideas. As a matter of fact, I've changed for good. You heard her? She said, let the wires unfold and the tables turn. I never had a lesson to learn, or what she said. Guys, get that new attitude. I know for me, spiritual contemplation puts me in a state of control. Also, a lot of happiness goes through. But music, oh my God, it makes my life. It really makes me happy. So when I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing, I got a new attitude. So you guys get it too. So you know this community and how it uplifts us and how it brings us. Thank you so much for thinking about that, Horace, about especially the donation part, because it lifts us and it integrates us. But it also integrates our mind, our body, and our spirit. It also helps us grow to our highest identity if you use it. See, CSL Charlotte is a very, very safe place for awakening. It's a great place to expand, to heal, and to know who you really are. I don't just do this as a talking head. I do this for me too. So this is not really a church. It's a transformation station. Everything we experience here, the peace, the practice, and the insight exists because we keep this community alive. We didn't quit a year ago or whatever, and it doesn't look like we're about to. Spiritual growth, though, here's the thing, when it comes to the BNF and the whole thing about growing, spiritual growth is reciprocal. It pours itself into you, and it must pour through you. So giving keeps that cycle of growth open. Receiving happens also in your own life. So you're not giving to keep lights on. You're giving to receive your evolution and to keep your own evolution alive. So make room for other people too at the same time. But above all, this community feeds us spiritually. So support your community and support you. So before we close out, remember, today was about practicing spiritual contemplation. Make sure to prioritize your spiritual practice and fully embrace that practice, though. Fully embrace it, because if you can do it just riding down the street doing nothing. So this week, start contemplating, how am I going to understand this stuff? You'll be surprised at the insight you get. Listen to this fabulous song because it's going to bring you a lot of power. See, the thing is, contemplating also brings you power, but powerful is who you are. So now, let's go. Listen to that song, Powerful, by the Empire Cast. Contemplate that this week. You contemplate that this week. How powerful you are. Because there is so much strength in you and me. I'm accepting it. Are you? So with that being said, Alan, my right-hand man, are you ready to pray us out while Mo rests?
Wow, I'm feeling powerful. I'm pumped. How about you? So now I encourage you to just close your eyes and just really just let that, feel that power deep within you. Knowing that we all are powerful superheroes, that we are spiritual beings being expressed as Spider-Man, as Superman, as Wonder Woman. We are all that and more because we are powerful, just the way we are. And this is our new attitude, having that, stepping forward tomorrow morning on the way to work, on the way to the grocery store, knowing that we are powerful. We are all superheroes in our own disguises. And we are all here to let go of the old outdated thinking. We are letting go of the nerdy glasses, and we spin around and get a new attitude and realize that we're Superman and Wonder Woman. So I am knowing that we move beyond the whole outdated ideas, the need to panic, the need to have to be fearful, the need to think small just so we can blend in. Because the truth is we are all powerful superheroes. And as we move forward and transform our lives, we become stronger, we become more powerful, we become more confident, and become more brilliant, which is the way Spirit meant for us to be in this life, to express more fully, more authentically, more powerfully, so we can inspire other people to release their own superhero powers deep within them as well. That's why I love this community, because we are like the X-Men and X-Women here to support each other. And this community is like the school in X-Men. We're all here to help each other transform to becoming our most powerful, authentic selves. And I'm grateful for that. So I release this out into this wonderful world, knowing that we are all here together of like minds to transform our lives, to transform our world, and to transform the whole entire universe one step at a time. In one step, one power, in one community, I release this, knowing everything is being fulfilled right here and right now. And so it is.
And so it is, the superheroes that are here to present ourselves. Thank you, Alan. Yeah. We're powerful. That's how we know it, you know? And so with that, it's time to really close out. So as we wrap up our time together, start with practicing spiritual contemplation this week, and practice walking that journey to wholeness that we talked about last week along with it. Because you know now what you need to know. So just do it. And remember, the universe is constantly supporting you on your journey. Until we meet again, though, simplicity of life is practicing spiritual contemplation. And so it is.